Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another weekly webinar. I'm Harry Brailsford with SMB Nation, and I'm coming to you live from the Las Vegas airport. And I'm going to tell you why. We'll get into the content in a minute, but a little bit of housekeeping. This week was super cool. I was able to go to the IBM Partner World Leadership Conference. It's my fifth year down here at the Cosmopolitan in Vegas, and what was interesting about that is the complete focus on analytics. So you really want to peek over at Watson. They're doing some cool stuff, and then more importantly, they got in early. So it's definitely the new IBM. The joke was the new blue at IBM is blue jeans. So I fit right in with my black T-shirt and the blue jeans. Then I hopped across the street to see my main man Bernard Gutnick, and then Doug Green. Literally across the street was the Avaya conference, the big Avaya partner conference. I double dipped, went to a couple different parties, a couple trade show halls, a couple lectures. So busy week, and I'm just about to get on the plane to get back to Seattle. Further housekeeping, use the chat feature to ask your questions. Jenny's in the radio control booth. She'll make sure that the speaker gets those questions today. Great presentation, going to get to it in a minute. A couple weekly webinars coming up. Keep your eyes open for that. Also keep your eyes over on smbnation.com as we're starting to feed more and different and new content. In fact, we have a new section in 2017 that explores the Azure and AWS conversation. We may have to bring in a little bit of the IBM fabric into that at some point, but not today. And then we have a series of workshops coming up, Q2, and it's a Pocket MBA theme this time. So we're going a slightly different direction in Q2. We've got 4 cities on the books. We'll be announcing that later this week. And it's Saturday, so it's when we say MBA, we're thinking executive MBA courses that you go to on Saturday, and it's really cool because the traffic's better, and we can really get into it. And there's a case study and so on. So that's a marketing as a service / marketing 2.0 one day that you'll want to avail yourself of. Now, with that said, we have Krill back for a repeat visit, and the topic today is actually very timely. Quite frankly, we have quite a large crowd, and it's leveraging AWS and Microsoft Azure for managed cloud services. So, sir, appreciate you jumping on board and making a repeat visit. I mean, I think the last time we talked to you, you were almost on the way to the airport for your vacation. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. I was the last time we had a interaction. It was I think December, and I was just getting ready to leave as well.
There we are. So we're back 2 months later. Everybody's back to work. Sir, I'm going to let you take over, and I'm going to go on mute because I'm in an airline lounge. So let's rock.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much for the introductions, Harry. And just a quick note on IBM Watson. That's actually interesting that you were just speaking about that. I help out as an advisor to a company called SupportBots.io, which is a company that does AI for managed service providers. And they're actually working with IBM Watson as their backend for AI. So I've got a first-hand look at it, and it's very interesting. I think it's going to do great things for MSPs and for many other industries.
It is.
So that's awesome.
It is. You know, it's the kind of thing, guys. You need to give IBM a break. You know, I know that they're sort of the tail end of some bad jokes. You know, a decade ago. I get it. They pivoted, but you know, boy howdy crow, they have pivoted, my friend, and they need a second look.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I think they've done great things. Their product, Watson, is very mature as it relates to that nascent industry, artificial intelligence, and you know, what I've seen really blew my mind. So yeah, definitely worth a second look.
Okay, sir. I mean, you have the talking stick. Rock and roll.
All right. Great, thank you so much. So first things first, Jennifer, would you mind putting up a couple of polls so we can get a sense of our audience?
We have our first poll launched. Do you offer cloud managed services? And it looks like we've got some people coming in. We'll give it just another second or so, and then I will show those results. We're going to close that poll now. And share it. Krill, can you see the screen?
I do not see the results.
All right, let me read them off then. It says, do you offer cloud managed services? We've got 63% said yes, I offer it now. 11% said no, but I plan on starting in the next 3 months. 11% said no, I plan on starting in the next 6 months. And 15% said no, not planning on it.
Great. It's interesting to learn that it looks like the majority of folks on this particular webinar already offer cloud managed services, which is great. But my job here today is going to be to convince that 15% that don't offer it, nor do they plan on offering it, into at least looking into it, because as I'll show you in a little bit here, I think it'll be a revolutionary service that you could add to your line of business.
Let's launch the next poll.
Yeah, great.
This one asks, how large is your organization? We've already got polls being answered here. We'll give it another minute or so. All righty. Let me share those answers. So how large is your organization? We've got 45% saying that they're 1 to 5 employees. We've got 21% saying they're 6 to 10, 14% saying 11 to 12, 3% saying 21 to 50, and 17% of the audience says they're over 50 employees.
Great, thank you. Looks like we got a good mix here. And
we've
the
got
last
one more poll question. Yep, one more poll question we're going to launch. Are you currently a member of any of the following programs? So it looks like we've got a couple people already starting to vote. Give it another second. We've got quite a few people still coming in voting here, so. Alrighty. I'm going to close this poll down and we're going to share it. It looks like we've got 86% saying Microsoft CSP, 9% with AWS reseller, and 5% with IBM Bluemix partner.
All right, excellent. Good. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for that. It's really helpful to know the audience a little bit, and so that I could tailor the presentation to the folks that are here with us. All right, great. So we'll get started then. Today we'll talk a little bit about the managed services business model in general. We'll talk about hybrid and public clouds. We'll talk a little bit about who the market leaders are in infrastructure as a service. We'll talk about, most importantly, about building a recurring revenue in the cloud, what kind of pain points, what kind of tools are out there, and what kind of next steps we could take to get everyone into a managed cloud services line of business. So what's happening to the traditional managed services business model? Managed services has been around for over a decade. Really, the word, I think, was born sometime in the 90s, if I have my information correct. And at this stage, we're starting to see a lot of disruption and transformation. I believe that most of us see disruption and transformation going on across this and many, many other industries, because software is eating the world. Actually, Marc Andreessen coined this term, software is eating the world, and I really look at it almost daily, because software is constantly evolving and changing and really making our lives better and changing our lives, maybe for better, typically or usually, hopefully, but sometimes it's making things harder for us all. Another point and proof here is that at Google I/O conference, Google announced that Android apps will be available on Chrome OS. What does that mean? That means that folks that have Chrome OS laptops, and I think they're permeating the education space, and I believe they're gonna, those laptops are gonna make a shift into the corporate space in the coming years. People who have that Chrome OS laptop will be able to point and click to install any Android or Chrome OS app with, again, a point and click. And those laptops, as many of us know, are probably $100, $200, or $300 a piece. The net result of that will be that desktop support becomes even more of a commodity, and that MSP revenue might erode as a result of this, because think about it. If someone has a Chrome OS laptop, they point and click and install an application, or they use their browser to run a software as a service app. You know, things like QuickBooks Online, Xero, Office 365, web apps, and a number of other applications. I mean, it'd be hard pressed to find a software vendor that doesn't have a SaaS application today. Those margins are going to erode for the MSPs. The MSP's value prop will become less and less in the legacy managed services business. Again, desktop support we consider legacy. Server management is, as we know, going away. Exchange servers are going away. Domain controllers are potentially going away. You know, so really MSPs are being left with a lot less of the legacy managed services model. But that's not necessarily all bad news. And we'll talk about how to turn it around for your benefit. Who are the major IaaS cloud players today? I'm sure you know these names. AWS obviously has the largest market share. Over 30% of the public cloud market, that is looking at a broader public market space with platform as a service and things like that. In the IaaS, infrastructure as a service, market share is 60+%. So they're the dominant player, been at it for 10+ years. Microsoft Azure is certainly making great strides, and if I remember correctly, we have over 90% Microsoft CSP partners here with us today. Obviously, CSP model is great. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go through the presentation. And Google, certainly someone to be watched closely. They're not as partner or channel friendly as Azure, and certainly not as friendly as AWS either. However, I think they're making strides. Diane Green is overseeing the Google Cloud Platform. She was one of the founders of VMware. VMware is very, very channel and partner friendly software, as many of us know. And so just watch Google Cloud as one of the alternatives for cloud services. And then software, we talked about IBM. So recently, I should probably update the slide, but very recently, Softlayer and Bluemix were merged into one platform. So it's going to be called Bluemix. Softlayer is a company that IBM acquired a number of years ago, and now Bluemix is going to replace Softlayer and is going to offer traditional infrastructure as a service offerings such as virtual machines, networking, storage, etc. And on top of that, they have their whole suite of Watson offerings and platform offerings, Cloud Foundry, and that type of stuff. So actually, Unigma uses Softlayer Cloud Foundry, the Cloud Foundry environment in Bluemix to run some of our services. So it's a great service. And then others. There's a number of other smaller cloud players who've been around a long time, like Rackspace and others as well. Hybrid cloud. Hybrid and private cloud, do they still matter? So everybody knows hybrid cloud is really a computing environment that runs a mix of on-prem, private, and third-party public cloud services, typically with orchestration between the platforms. And platforms that you guys have probably heard of are OpenStack and VMware. As far as market leaders, Azure Stack is I believe, in its early versions and is going to be available in general release soon. So does private or hybrid cloud matter today in the public cloud first world? I certainly think it has its place. There's always going to be corporations and businesses that need compliance and that have other specific needs. However, at scale, it's going to be really, really difficult to compete. As many of us know, AWS and Azure are dropping prices multiple times per year. So if it's not today, it will be much, much less expensive to run workloads in the public cloud and much easier. I mean, the scale and the features and the things that happen in public cloud cannot be matched by running your own private cloud or running a customer-specific private cloud. It's just too difficult and too expensive to do. how different are managed services in the cloud versus managed services on-premise? So I believe most of us probably come from the on-premise MSP world, and so we know how to manage servers, we know how to manage networks, etc. So really, in my opinion, it's really not that much of a difference going from on-prem to the public cloud. And I look at public cloud as the new quote-unquote servers, right? Years ago, MSPs would essentially resell and then support and manage servers on behalf of their clients, and their clients could run their servers in the data center, in the closet, in their office, or whatever they decide, or whatever the MSP recommends. So today we have public cloud. We have AWS, we have Azure, we have Google, we have other clouds, so that today the servers and workloads are running in these clouds. So really, there shouldn't be that much of a difference between the Dell and the IBM and the HP servers that VARs and MSPs sold a few years ago to today, when we have AWS and Azure clouds. And we'll talk about how to make those adoption of those clouds easier in a couple of slides here. So recurring revenue streams. What kind of recurring revenue streams are available, and what can we do to add them to our current business models? So cloud migrations, that's the easiest, the low-hanging fruit. Really developing a practice around migrating workloads to the cloud could be one of the first things that is added to to the line of business for an MSP. There's a number of different softwares out there that help with cloud migrations. I'm happy to recommend some of them for those folks that are interested. And there's also cloud native tools that Microsoft and Amazon provide to enable those migrations. Cloud monitoring, so monitoring and alerting. I mean, we've done it before in the on-premise world. Really doing the same thing, but adding API level metrics, API level monitoring, monitoring platform as a service in addition to virtual machines and things like that. But that's certainly a fairly easy service to monetize. Cloud service brokerage, so reselling clouds, reselling Microsoft Azure through CSP, reselling AWS through the reseller program, and reselling Google through their partner program. So those are obvious business lines, and by the way, margins are great, especially with Microsoft Azure. Margins are unbelievable. There's two different tiers of CSP partners. If anyone has an interest in learning more about that, I can take that offline. But margins are better, much better than reselling hardware, legacy hardware. Cloud backup and disaster recovery. I'm sure most of us already know about this, but there's a lot of things that one can do to enable monetization of cloud backup, be it simple cloud, cloud backup, to a little bit, more complex image backup, spinning up images in AWS or Azure. We frequently do webinars with a partner called Cloudberry. They're an awesome company in that they really help enable cloud backup and disaster recovery for MSPs. And then managed services, really, right? And that's the ultimate goal, is taking the whole cloud model and managing it. And managed services in the cloud would include all of the above, potentially migrating, monitoring and management of the cloud workloads, cost management, analytics, making sure that those clouds are secure, account management, and all the other stuff. So managed services adapts really, really well to the cloud. So it's not a huge leap to going from on-prem to cloud. So there are certainly some pain points for managed cloud services, and what are they? Billing for cloud consumption. That is one we deal with every day. That's the biggest pain points for MSPs. So if you're a CSP, if you're an AWS reseller, how do you actually bill for that cloud with a markup, with custom line items? How do you sync it with Autotask or with ConnectWise or with your other PSA tools? How do you get your client to log into a place where they can look at their analytics, look at their costs, and see everything, see all their spend in one place? That is a huge challenge for MSPs today who do cloud, anything in the cloud. Learning, right? Learning one or multiple clouds. So I talked about before, cloud is the new Dell, cloud is the new HP servers, as it relates to servers, but they all have different control panels, they all have different functionality, so it could be a pain to learn multiple clouds. And I'll tell you how we resolve that. I mean, our software, for one, enables MSPs to use a single pane of glass and manage multiple clouds from the same place. Moving on to monitoring, platform and API, and monitoring inside the operating system. So we know how to monitor inside the OS. We have tools like Kaseya, LabTech, and a number of other great tools that have been around a long time. But how do we monitor outside the OS? How do we monitor the API? How do we monitor the platform, right? Platform is the whole service like EC2 in AWS. If EC2 is down in a specific region, how do we know it's down? How do we know what to look for? How do we know when it's going to come back up? Virtual machine, right? Some metrics are available inside of the operating system, some are not. Anything platform related or storage, things are or may not be available inside the OS. So API level monitoring is really, really needed, and that's certainly a pain point for MSPs going into the cloud. And then cost management, right? I talked about this just now, but how do customers log in to look at all their cloud spend, because they're paying by the minute, by the hour, they're paying for resource consumption. They want to see where's that money going and how to lower those costs. So all of these things are pain points that MSPs deal with. And so, you know, here at Unigma, obviously, we think we resolved a lot of these pain points, or a number of these pain points. And our platform is what we call a unified cloud management suite. It is essentially a platform for managing AWS, Azure, and Google infrastructure as a service clouds. And we help do things like performance monitoring and alerting. We help do things like cost management, billing. We help automation so that you could actually do things without leaving our single pane of glass. There's a number of cool things that we do. So as far as I'm sorry about that. I actually skipped to the wrong slide. So, and just aside from talking about, I want to show you a quick demo of what Unigma can actually do. I'm going to jump to the screen here. It'll take just a couple of minutes. But essentially, we offer a single pane of glass with dashboards and different views. So as you can see in front of you here, we can visualize all of your resources. So if you wanted to see all of your virtual machines from Amazon, from Azure, from you know any of the supported clouds, you could do it all in one place. You could actually manage these virtual machines from Unigma without leaving a single pane of glass, and do the same thing for many other resource types. Monitoring, we have the ability to monitor any of the resources, many different types of monitoring, and we're monitoring API, so we're monitoring outside of the operating system. And we can enable performance, health monitoring, cost monitoring, downtime, status checks, etc. So there's a lot of different monitoring types. We have alerts populating right into our own alerting view, or you can push the alerts to ConnectWise and Autotask or Kaseya. We have templates out of the box that enable you to monitor different cloud providers day one. So it's really, really easy to get set up. So the whole, you know, our mission here at Unigma is to make cloud utilization easy. Really what that means is you have a single pane of glass, you have Unigma. It's, by the way, customized for a specific MSP, so you can put your logo, you can have your own custom domain. You can actually invite your customers, you can invite your technicians, you can invite people in here, and then show them different things. So here's a view of our analytics, cost analytics. So this will help you and help your customers visualize any potential cost savings. So this is just a high-level view of what people could save by lowering their utilization, by resizing their virtual machines, by turning off things that they don't use. Automation, so we have a number of different ways to automate. You could schedule different tasks. We have what's called smart tasks. These are metrics-driven automation that you could schedule and set up yourself. We have a bunch of templates. Reporting, so this is where you could set up reports and send to your customer. They could see what you're doing, they could see alerts, they could see utilization. You could also set up partner billing so that you could actually bill your customers for AWS or Azure. You could add your discount markups, you send it to multiple customers, you can add custom line items, etc., etc. So, and then you could push all of these things to to Autotask and ConnectWise, and there's a lot of other things that I haven't showed you, but at a high level, I want everyone to understand that there are solutions to those pain points, and they could be quite simple. So I'm going to jump back into the presentation here. So again, just to recap, our mission is to make cloud utilization as simple as possible. Our software is very, very affordable. and it manages multiple clouds. So you get a look at all the top public clouds from a single pane of glass, and we're ourselves are obviously 100% cloud-based. So that really concludes my presentation here. I'm happy to take any questions if there are any in the audience. Jennifer, is there anyone asking any questions?
At this time, we currently don't have any questions. Remember to use the chat feature within the webinar system to ask your questions.
Let's give it a quick second, and if there's no questions, I'm also going to be available after the webinar. I will show everyone my contact information, and we'll send out the webinar after it's completed. I'm happy to answer any questions right now.
Yeah, it looks like we just got a question in.
Okay.
Let me open it up here. Also, just a reminder that the webinar is being recorded, and within the next 24 to 48 hours, we will send that link out so everyone can replay it if they'd like to. We've got one question here. Great presentation. Is this available in the UK?
It certainly is. We have customers all over, and certainly in the UK. So yeah, just ping me after, and we'll get in touch and talk about it, but certainly are available in the UK.
Fantastic. We got a couple more questions that came in. Could we see more of an in-depth demo sometime?
Absolutely. We'll reach out to you if we could take a note of who that was, and we'll reach out. We'll reach out to everyone that registered for the webinar, and you know, we'll schedule a time. We typically like to tailor the demo to each specific customer or potential customer. So we'll be back in touch and show you guys an in-depth demo and be able to answer any of your questions individually.
Fantastic. We got one more question. What is the Unigma pricing model like?
Sure. So right now, and we actually have a, I can show you the pricing right on our website here, I believe. So this is, if you could see my screen here, this is our pricing model. Very, very affordable. I mean, you could actually start at pay-as-you-go if you're just getting into the cloud, and then you basically just pay per resource. As you're ramping up, you could upgrade to a higher plan, depending on the number of resources. So there's really the limitations are around how many resources are in your account, and resources are like VM storage, things like that. How many customers you're managing, how many cloud accounts, and a couple of features. But from the feedback that we get from our customers is we're very, very affordable. So you could certainly, a lot of our customers are using the premium or the service provider plan. So for $299, you could have you could manage multiple customers. Service provider, again, you can manage a ton of your customers and not pay too much. So that's it there, and it's available right on our website under pricing.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. Doesn't look like we have any more questions, but if you want to put up your contact information just so we have that available for everybody, that would be great.
Absolutely. I just want to mention real quick, so for the folks that took their valuable time to attend this webinar, we will have a special offer. We do have a program called Cloud Accelerate, which is essentially a consulting program that we will be happy to offer to you if you become a customer. So we'll reach out to everybody, but Cloud Accelerate will essentially help you get in the cloud, help you monetize the cloud, help you do anything that you need to do to essentially grow your business in AWS, Azure, Google, or any other cloud. And here's my contact. I'm going to enlarge it a little bit here. So you guys can reach me at Kirill, K-I-R-I-L-L, @unigma.com, or just go to the website and submit a contact us form anywhere on our website, and we'll be back in touch with everyone, as I mentioned, in the next day or so. And that's it for me.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to give us this presentation. And like I said, the webinar is being recorded, and we'll make sure to get that out within the next 24 to 48 hours for replay purposes. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Kirill. And other than that, everyone have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.